Welcome to the May 9th school board meeting. And to start with, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I'll ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. And to start things off, we have several celebrations.
We have a lot of people here for celebrations tonight. So we're going to start off with our Teacher of the Year celebrations. And so we will go through each building, and principal will speak about. I'm sorry, that's not correct. That is not correct. We will start off with Odyssey of the Mind. And Valerie King is going to introduce our participants and our celebrations.
Good evening. We have some students who need to get to a choir concert, so thank you for letting us go first. The Siloam Springs School District has partnered with the Siloam Springs Creativity Alliance for several years to support students who participate in Odyssey of the Mind. So I'm going to turn this over to the founder, Carla Engel, to explain a little more about Odyssey of the Mind and to recognize our students.
Thank you. Hi. I'm Carla Engel, and I'm on the board of directors for the Siloam Springs Creativity Alliance. And for those that aren't super familiar, Odyssey of the Mind is a creative problem-solving competition. So the kids prepare throughout the year to go to competition, and they're scored on three things. They choose a problem, and this team chose a vehicle problem, and they prepare to compete with that. And then they not only have to solve the problem, they have to make props and costumes and present the solution to their car problem in an 8-minute play that they have written themselves. So they get a score for that. They get a score for the creativity of their overall solution, which is called a style score. And then they're taken into a room where they're just given a problem that they call spontaneous, because that's exactly what it is. They just have to go in and they're presented a problem and they solve it right then, and they get scored on the creativity of their solution, how well they work together as a team. There's so many positive things about it. But these kids, like I said, did the car problem this year, and Chanel Ramos is their coach, and so she's going to just tell you real quick exactly kind of what they did and who these kids are, why we're so proud of them.
So for the car problem, it was presented as a drive-in movie theater, and they chose the theme of aliens versus humans. And their car has to go to a ticket booth and pick up a ticket. It has to drive to the concession stand, pick up some food, and then it has to go into reverse into a parking spot. And then their car has to project an object into the movie and become part of that movie. It's really interesting. We've had a lot of fun. They did get a late start, so I'm very proud of them to make it all the way to Worlds. And I'd like to introduce them. So we have, if you guys will come up, Drake Turner, he's from 8th grade. Evan Kiefer, also 8th grade. Emma Waiticha, she is 7th grade. Alice Villa from 6th grade. And Eli Moose from 6th grade. They also, both regionals and state, they won first in spontaneous. So they're doing really great with that as well. So we're excited. Thank you. Yes. Picture.
We're going to stand right over there and get a picture. Under the logo.
Great place for that TV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Congratulations.
We do have several celebrations, and we have full room. So if you want to leave after you are celebrated, that's fine. We won't be offended. And I was way off when I said we were doing Teachers of the Year first. We were actually doing them at the end of the celebrations. So next, we're going to celebrate the Seal of Biliteracy. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Karen Miller, high school principal, to talk about the Seal of Biliteracy.
Thank you. This evening, we are celebrating 8 Siloam Springs High School students out of 776 Arkansas students who have met the language proficiency requirements in English and 1 or more other languages and have earned the Arkansas Seal of Biliteracy. The Arkansas Seal of Biliteracy is awarded each spring and fall, and we did this in the fall, if you remember too, to students in grades 9 through 12, and it's sponsored by the Arkansas Foreign Language Teachers Association and the Arkansas Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages. The Arkansas Department of Education officially endorsed the seal in 2018. 7 of our students that earned the award this semester are endorsed in English and Spanish, and 1 is endorsed in English and Arabic. So for the students who are here, if you guys would come up when I call your name and stand in front, we'll get a picture. I have Ashley Furman. Kaylee Hernandez Lopez. Edgar Montez. Come on down. Congratulations. Rebecca Perez Osejo. Sebastian Romero. Reem Mohammed Suleiman. Jocelyn Amador. And Kaylee Cordave Rosales. I didn't see her. And these students will also receive their medals tomorrow at our Senior Awards Assembly, if you're a senior. If not a senior, then you'll receive it the next week. So let's give them a round of applause. No.
The Department of Education recognized the importance of this award several years ago, and there's rumors that it will be taken into account on our school, the school letter grade scores in the future. We haven't gotten final rules on that yet, but those students who have received the Seal of Biliteracy in the future may help us out more than the average student on our building letter grades. So, all right, next celebration, I'm going to turn the floor over to Daniel Hodge, our fine arts director and band director, and I think he has a couple of different announcements or celebrations from the band program.
Good evening. So very honored to be here tonight, and I want to start. I don't get to talk to the school board very often, but just tell you what an honor it is to work in the school district and be a part of something so special. Our band program is very healthy, and it's due to a lot of support in important places. And it starts with great kids, and you're going to meet about 10 of them right now. So we had 10 kids make All-State. This is regardless of class size, so 2A and 7A and 5A and 6A all kind of go against each other. So this is truly like the top 1% of thousands of kids that audition for the band, and it's a grueling process. And we had 10 kids make it. Not all of them are here, but I'll list them all to you. First off, we have Cindy Chavez on clarinet. She's a junior. You can come on up. And then we have Mary Ann Fu on alto saxophone, a senior. Jazz Cologne, Barry saxophone, senior, and he got first chair. He's like the best ever.
Wow.
We have Elijah Felton on trombone. He's a sophomore. And we have William Bowles on trombone. He's also he's a senior. We have Miles Mixdorf, percussion as a sophomore. David Luker, trumpet as a sophomore. Levi Lamontagne as bass clarinet. He also got first chair. And then not with us are Ferdinand, sorry, we call him Ferdy. Ferdinand Bloom and Tommy Seitz. Is that all we're missing? Yeah, Tommy met last year. So, yeah, so let's give these folks a round of applause. Take your picture over there. They're donning their all-state hoodies. They're only good at straight lines.
There's your joke.
Good job.
Congratulations. And next, I'd like to introduce Miss Melissa Lesso. She is our middle school band director, and she recently took 90 kids to a concert assessment, and she would like to share their success with you. While she's on her way, I'll let you know we took 130 high school band kids to Chicago last week, and number one goal was to return with all of them, and mission accomplished. And there were like no behavior issues. They were just perfect. And we actually won the festival, so that was cool too.
All right. Good job. That's wonderful.
Well, like Mr. Hodge said, my name's Melissa Lesso. I'm the middle school band director. In April, the eighth graders went to concert assessment and received straight superior ratings across the board from all of the judges. This is the second year in a row that we've done that. Last year, we were the only middle school band. This year, I haven't done the research, but I think that we might have been that again. So I'm going to check into all of that. They're a fantastic group. And tomorrow, we take 50 of them to Branson to celebrate. So it's going to be awesome. Thanks.
Nice.
Okay, so now we are going to get Teachers of the Year, and I will turn the floor over to Kelly Sweebeck, and she will introduce our introducers.
Good evening. Many of you have followed on social media, and you've seen all of the teacher appreciation posts this week, and we celebrate and salute all of our teachers. Tonight, though, we get to honor teachers who were selected by their peers for being exceptionally dedicated, knowledgeable, and skilled. The teachers you meet tonight are respected and admired for what they do for students, for their colleagues, and for their school community as a whole. Each principal is going to come up and talk a little bit about their Teacher of the Year and give them their plaque. And we're going to start with Northside and Brandy Fox, and then work our way up.
Hello. First, I want to say thank you for coming to Northside today. We loved having you in our building. And our Teacher of the Year is Audrey Matthey. So.
Right.
Audrey is a graduate of Salem Springs High School, and while she was a student there, she took the orientation to teaching courses and learned more about being an educator, decided that's what she wanted to do, and she went to John Brown University to get her degree. She's now finishing her 4th year as a kindergarten teacher, and she says she loves it because she gets to see her students grow and learn about at the beginning of their journey of education. Her colleagues describe her as compassionate, encouraging, trustworthy, and hardworking. They appreciate the way she collaborates to meet the needs of all students, not just those in her own classroom. She's admired by her teammates for her dedication to serving students. She works hard to provide a loving and safe environment, and she's consistently discovering ways to meet their unique needs. One colleague also said that Audrey can always make her laugh, even on rough days. Another teammate gave an excellent description of why she was chosen as the Northside Teacher of the Year. She stated, "Audrey goes above and beyond for her students, her teammates, and any activity that she's involved in. She's able to see things from different perspectives, and she always assumes positive intent. Audrey is a listening ear and a friend to all who need one. Being on a team with Audrey has made me a better educator and friend, and she truly lifts those around her up and is such a joy to be around. Northside and Siloam Springs School District are lucky to have her."
It's very special to, I'm sorry. It's really special to be able to teach in the same place where I went to school, and I know firsthand as a student the caliber of teachers that we have here and how much they pour into their students. So this is really an honor, and it's really special to me, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
One more. Oh, whoops.
Hi. Allen Elementary's Teacher of the Year is Martin Keith, and I am especially touched by this. When I saw the voting results come in, I thought what an honor it was to be at Allen where they recognize the greatness of people like this. He embodies the essence of what it means to be a dedicated educator. His kindness, patience, and unwavering commitment to the delivery of instruction make him a standout. He doesn't just teach, he fosters meaningful connections with each and every one of his students, even in their most challenging moments. Martin's dedication to building strong relationships extends to the interactions he has with families, as well as open communication and genuine care for his students and their well-being. Martin's contributions extend outside the classroom. He's a true team member. He consistently goes above and beyond to support his colleagues and lend a helping hand whenever it's needed. His calm demeanor and professionalism and hardworking nature inspire those around him and contribute to a positive and collaborative work environment. And beyond that, he's very humble. When I went to tell him that he was the Allen Teacher of the Year, he said, "You need to turn around and go next door. That belongs to my teammate." Outside of his role as an exceptional educator, he's a devoted husband to his wife Samantha and his 3 children, Zachary, Cadence, and Adeline. His passion for teaching extends beyond the classroom walls, as it's evidenced by his previous work with organizations like the Elizabeth Richardson Center and Sunshine School, which exhibits his passion for children with special needs. And let's not forget about Martin's hidden talents. I told him I was going to sneak this in some kind of way. Did you know that he also used to perform in a band that performed at venues like George's? We found that out on our investigation of him when we hired him. He also speaks
Long time ago, y'all.
He also speaks a little bit of Spanish. And his diverse interests and skills only add to the remarkable character that make him all the more deserving of this award.
Awesome.
I am in awe. I'm humbled, I'm honored, and I'm just in awe. This should go to so many other educators, and I hope just as many educators get the chance to be up here to present this plaque to you. I want you all to know how impactful you are as leaders within our school community, within our school district, how much we rely on you, how much we depend on you, and we are also in gratitude of you and your service. But also, I just wanted to take this time to say, look, Ma, I did it!
Well, first, before we get started, mine's a little wordy, so I may cut it down just slightly to match up with my peers. That way we don't have to have conversations afterwards about why'd you go on and on. Southside's Teacher of the Year is Miss Tammy Murray, and it's well-deserved. I'm honored to be able to speak on her behalf. So Miss Tammy Murray currently serves as our reading interventionist at Southside, and she's been teaching for over 20 years. Miss Murray's journey through education in Siloam Springs is lifelong. She's from here. Her roots run deep in our community. Her grandfather was once a custodian at the old gray high school building. She has served many roles in Siloam. She started in elementary, went to high school, working in FACS classroom, and then to intermediate, I believe, after that. And then now she's with us at Southside. So she is our dyslexia interventionist. We commonly refer to it as reading interventionist. Her pursuit of further education, such as earning her master's degree in reading and working towards her academic language therapist certification, demonstrate her dedication to improving her skills and better serving her students. Outside of her career, Tammy's commitment to family shines through. She has 4 beautiful daughters, 9 grandchildren. Her 4 daughters were all Siloam Springs graduates. She's been married to her husband, Greg, for 36 years. I said we have to put him in there. So it's very impressive. Her servant's heart is evident as she does bridal alterations. She successfully ran that business from home for over 3 decades. She has served her church teaching preschoolers for 25 years, I believe. Tammy's story is one of deep connection to Siloam Springs. Her peers were extremely proud, and they're blessed to have her on her team. Former and current. We had a lot of people reach out once they found out that Tammy was the recipient to let us to give us feedback on her behalf. Some of the things that they say, which this is impressive, Miss Murray at one point in time looped with all boys back in the day, and she survived. I cannot imagine all boys classes and then continuing the next year to stay with them. A former Panther who very much is a part of our family at Southside, Brittany Mooring, wrote in and said that she is one of the most inspiring educators I've ever had the privilege of working with. While I've seen her help many students, I've also witnessed her supporting families when their students are identified with characteristics of dyslexia. That's one of those forgotten moments. It's very hard when you have to have hard conversations with families, but to let them know that their struggles, it's okay that they have them because we have great people like Tammy to work alongside them. So Southside knows Miss Murray will pledge to continue to serve with dedication, compassion, and innovation, and we're just very proud of her. So, absolutely.
Well, all I can say is it's a humbling experience to be noticed and honored by your peers, the same peers that are in the trenches with you doing the exact same thing every single day. We all say it. But who thank us every day, those are the kids. That's what makes it for us. Those little stinkers come in and get a hug every day. Honestly, they're probably trying to just get out of class, but that's okay because they need that hug. And they are the ones that truly make it worth it. Audrey, I'm gonna cry. Audrey was in my 3rd and 4th grade class. And then I had her again at the high school multiple years. And so that's why we do it. That's right there is why we do it. But to be seen by your peers is so honoring, and I just appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. It is a privilege to announce that Mr. Steve Romig is the Teacher of the Year at Intermediate School. Can you hear me? I'll tell you a little bit about him. He's been teaching for 25 years. He's taught math and science in Wichita, Kansas, in Gentry, and for the past 20 years in Siloam Springs.
This past year, he served as our special education teacher, and he also served our country in the United States Navy for 8 years. Mr. Romig is beloved and respected by students and parents and colleagues. He's the ultimate helper. He is always willing to help others, but hands down, the students are his passion. One teacher says about him, he never hesitates to jump in and help students. He meets them where they are and helps them navigate the problems they are trying to solve. Mr. Romig is praised not only for motivating students, but encouraging other teachers. He makes sure that any new teachers are prepared. He takes the time to get to know them, check in with them throughout the year. One teacher attributes her first year teaching as being successful because of Mr. Romig. Steve's family is here, his wife Heather, his son William, and daughter Abby, and his mother-in-law.
Yes,
correct?
my mother.
Your mom. So they're all here. And so it is a privilege to give you this. And I must say that when we announced it at our staff meeting, we did pass the crown with an actual tiara. I am disappointed he did not wear it, but he did wear it all meeting. So it is an honor that he will get to reign this year. So.
And Steve, I wanted to give you this too. Every year we take things that they have said about the teacher of the year, and we turn it into a little word art for him to hang in his classroom so that he can remember all the fun things that people remember and love about you and working with you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just deeply honored to receive this. I feel like there's so many more teachers in our building that deserve this. I'm just so grateful for the Siloam Springs School District and everyone here, and I'm just blessed to be here and blessed to work for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I would like to introduce the Siloam Springs Middle School Teacher of the Year, Miss Rachel Hickman. So, yeah, you can go ahead. You can clap. So, Ms. Hickman has been a part of the building prior to me even coming into the district, and so she's been a wonderful asset and a wonderful team member. And several of the comments that were provided by her colleagues reemphasized how valuable she is as a member of our school community. Some of the ideas that were shared was Rachel always goes above and beyond for all students as she encounters, regardless if they are in her class or not. She sees what their needs are and then not only advocates for them, but also follows through to make sure the school is able to meet those needs, even when that sometimes involves her own personal time or having to change her schedule. And that is true. She saw there was a need for some student reading interventions support, and she asked us to redesign her schedule in order to be able to put a period in to grab certain students to be that supported. So she finds that need, she comes to us with a plan, and we try to do our best to make that plan. Rachel's always hardworking, always willing to help, and is hilarious. Yes. She is loved by many, many students in her classroom and is a place where lots of learning and growth happens. I'm proud to call her a friend, and this accolade is well deserved. Rachel's also the kind of teacher who makes our whole school a better place, and I agree with that. And it's also a kind of place that they want to be. She's kind and hilarious and helpful. She always puts the best interests of her students first, and Rachel's a big part of why this person enjoys teaching at our middle school. So some of the things with Rachel is that she's been here at 17 years of experience. She's been married for 32 years with her 3 sons, all of whom have gone through the Siloam Springs School District and graduated from there. So the product of the own making of her district. And so she has several things she likes to do outside of the school, which is enjoy reading and then leading the students to discover an incredible world that is a part of a reading. She wants to take that passion of reading and instill it to be a lifelong learner and just enjoy reading for reading's sake. But the one final thought I want to leave you with was the person who left this, and I'm not sure who it is, but it's very well written, and I think it absolutely captures what I feel too. Rachel epitomizes the ideal combination of a mentor, educator, and confidant, offering a steadfast commitment to those she guides and collaborates with. What sets her apart is her unwavering determination to surmount any challenge, If she encounters a task beyond her immediate expertise, she diligently seeks out the necessary knowledge to tackle it head-on. Rachel doesn't just help or cheer people on, she forms strong bonds that last. And I completely agree with that statement. So congratulations. Thank you for being a wonderful team member, and thank you for being our year of a Teacher of the Year at middle school. So,
So it's kind of funny because I was Audrey's 5th grade teacher as well. So we're all kind of here.
Yeah.
A long time ago when I started, Tammy Murray and I were both doing the all boys program together. And I remember going to her room and saying, when I grow up, I want to be like you because she's amazing. So getting to have this at the same time she does is like, ha, I've arrived. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you. I love 7th and 8th graders. They are a challenge every day to love them, but you do, and you just enjoy them. And I'm blessed beyond reason to get to do that with them. I have great people I work with. When I left intermediate, I remember saying, I just can't imagine not working with these people. And then I went to the next building and I found more amazing people to work with. So it's just been a great experience, and I really appreciate this. And I appreciate the fact that a lot of people said I'm hilarious, because I don't know that I always am, but so thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have the privilege of introducing Miss Kelsey Igo to you as a Siloam Springs High School Teacher of the Year. She grew up in Lincoln and actually started her teaching career there at the middle school, where she was for 3 years teaching literacy and math to students with mild to moderate disabilities. She felt a greater pull to have a bigger impact, and so she went to Main Street Academy and Siloam Springs High School, where she also teaches literacy and math. And she there discovered a love for transition, a love for challenging students, and a love for all of the educators, parents, and service providers who help her students become the most fulfilled, competent, and successful individuals they can be. She says the best experiences in teaching for her are watching her students, her wide-eyed freshmen specifically, become responsible, active, caring members of their community with a zest for life, an adventure that overcomes their disabilities and their disadvantages. Without the support and collaboration of her peers, she says these outcomes would not be possible, as it truly takes a village to raise these students. And interestingly enough, we had a lot of comments from that village. So I had to pick a few. They had very wonderful things to say about Kelsey. One of them said her constant humor makes everyone smile. Her love for her kids shines in all she does, and her ability to connect with and grow even the toughest kids is amazing. Another said she is approachable, down to earth, knowledgeable, genuinely cares for her students. She also cares about helping her colleagues and everyone in general. And she does this all with flair and with a smile. And yet another said she has an insight into her students that allows her to make deep connections with them and help them be successful. She openly shares her talents and insights with the staff she works with and around. And finally, Kelsey goes above and beyond for any individual, including colleagues, administration, students, and family. She is constantly looking for ways to support others and find a more efficient and effective way to better our students, school, and community. Her role at Siloam Springs High School is passion for others, and you see it daily. And I completely agree. So please join me in celebrating Mrs. Kelsey Igo.
In true teacher fashion, I broke my notes on a wrinkled sticky note. I am so very humbled and honored to be chosen as the Teacher of the Year anywhere, but especially here. As a special educator, I often feel that so much of what I do is background work that goes unnoticed, unseen, or misunderstood. To be so appreciated by my peers and the students I work with every day is overwhelming and inspiring. Thank you to my husband for supporting me by, holding my 2-year-old. To my mother for being my original mentor teacher, and to my own children for teaching me infinite patience. Thank you.
Awesome.
Good evening. I am very excited to introduce you to the Main Street Academy Teacher of the Year, and that is Marilyn Hoyt. Marilyn Hoyt teaches our business electives and social studies electives, and she's a graduate of Siloam Springs High School, and she also graduated from John Brown University. And I want to share a little bit of her story about her journey to alternative education in Siloam Springs. In 1981, her father started teaching at the alternative school in Siloam, Lonnie Nelson, and he was so positive about that experience that it became her dream to one day teach there. Can you imagine? We were so lucky when 1999, the paths crossed again, and Marilyn had been doing some different work, had returned to the Siloam Springs area, and was able to approach the director of the alternative school at that time, and was able to come in and do some long-term subbing, guest teaching, and he saw early on what we're seeing today, that she needed to be a part of alternative education. And she said, I have been there since that day in April of 2001, and she has loved every moment that she has spent with our amazing staff and students. And so what are those moments like? These are positive things. These are wonderful moments. One of her students had this to say, what's it like being in our classroom? One of her students said, she is magical, amazing, reliable, illustrative, loving, youthful, and nice. The people that get to work with her every day, some of the things they shared was that she is kind and understanding. The students love her. She's a positive light. She treats everyone with dignity and respect. She's the best resource for new teachers and will always stop to help. Goes above and beyond to make her lessons relevant to the students so they know she is teaching valuable skills they can use, not just academics, but in life beyond the walls of the school. And she is so enthusiastic about the connections her students make, and she spreads that joy to all around her. Marilyn is a yes and person. She is always willing to learn the new, and she supports and adopts anything that is asked of her from the ever-changing landscape of education because she wants to continue to work with students. That is what's most important to her. So I hope it is clear for you to see why she was chosen as our Main Street Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
I knew I'd be nervous. I didn't know I'd cry. I'm sorry. That was pretty touching. I am just so grateful. I can't tell you how many mornings I just get in my car and I say, thank you. I don't dread going to work. I don't have any kind of negative feeling. And after all these days, it's still the same. And I just love it. And I have to say so much thankfulness for Miss Michelle and Mr. Joel and Mr. Shell. Their support, they're like the tripod underneath us, just holding us up. And I'll be in my room just having fun with my kids, and I'll come out and they will have handled 15 fires that I didn't even know were going on. And that's because of them that they guard us. They keep us where we can do what we want to do. And I want to thank you all because every time you renew my contract, I get to keep doing what I love doing. And I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm sorry, right your way. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Okay, so we are Virtual Academy. So this week we've actually had an absolutely wonderful week celebrating teachers for Teacher Appreciation. And so as a high energy and often not very humble personality, I've been fortunate to have been given the microphone in a room full of people. And so when Marisa was actually prepping me for my role in celebrating her tonight, I mentioned that I could sing Chariots of Fire, or as was suggested, The Eye of the Tiger. So both would be appropriate, but I will just hold off on this for now. So Marisa Farmer has been an educator for 11 years in Siloam Springs School District. She has humbly navigated the ever-evolving landscape of virtual learning since volunteering to be a faculty member of the Virtual Academy at its inception in 2020. She's a rock star educator and currently teaches 17 different courses for students in grades 4, 6, 7th through 12th. She has truly embodied building the plane as we flew it. Beyond her duties in the classroom, Marisa has dedicated 7 years to leading as a cheer coach, imparting invaluable lessons on teamwork and enthusiasm to the students under her mentorship. So growing up in a home environment deeply rooted in education, Marisa's journey into teaching was inevitable. Her diverse interests, spanning from football and video games to music and writing, allow her to do her favorite thing about teaching, which is to establish meaningful connections with students. So we are so thankful for Marisa, and we look forward to supporting her on her return to classroom instruction next year at middle school.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve in Siloam Springs as a teacher. I've always loved kids. I don't have my own. I don't want my own, but I have had over 1,000 kids in the last 11 years, and it's been a pleasure. And I'm excited to get to be going back to the classroom, but I've also thoroughly enjoyed the 4 years that I have had the opportunity to serve at the Virtual Academy. So thank you for your service, and I look forward to continuing to serve you as well in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
If all of the teachers of the year are still here, we would like to get one group photo. If you would come up in front of the TV screen. Huh?
Gotta be tough. Tough to pick. I feel like you're in it.
So this has been fun, and this has been fun, and this is a great honor for those teachers to be elected by their peers. And as we went through this, if there's other teachers out there that aspire to be a teacher of the year, I noticed some themes that went along through the list. These teachers seem to be going above and beyond. They care about their kids. They have passion for teaching. They collaborate with each other and they help each other. They have humor. Mm-hmm. They volunteer for tough things, whether it be all boys classes or cheerleading or virtual academy as a startup. And several of them have taught Aubrey Matthey. So that seems to be something else. So, thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Just want to, again, say a celebration, just real quick, for today. Brandy, your team, is Brandy here? But over at Northside, I think it sounded like it was a great celebration. I wasn't able to make it, and a pretty good lunch, from what I understand, as well.
Absolutely.
But thank you for that. And then real quick, a celebration specific to today. I heard that the ladies soccer team won 4-0. And the boys are in extra time right now, 3-3. So hopefully they can pull that out. Moving on to comments. Mr. Patrick, do we have any comments from patrons? Is Steve Avery making his way up here to talk? Oh, okay. All right. Bambi, let the minutes show that we have an established quorum, please. We'll move on to reports.
So I have a few quick things to touch on. I was going to mention the visit to Northside. We did have a great lunch over there and got to see a whole bunch of little kids doing lunch better than some of our older kids do. They know the process, and we were impressed. I will mention scholarship night this past Tuesday night. Over $4 million given out to our kids, our seniors, graduating seniors. Good turnout that night. It was a good night. I will also mention that a week from today, so next Thursday, Scholars Luncheon that most of us will be at, and that's a event that I look forward to every year. And then graduation on Saturday, the 18th, yes, at Barnhill, 11 o'clock. And I was going to also mention this was Teacher Appreciation Week, and we've had a lot of cool things going on across the district. All of our buildings had different ways of celebrating their teachers and thanking them. We had businesses all over town sending treats and appreciation to our teachers. Our PTO did special things at each of the buildings, so it's been a good week. Been a good week to celebrate our teachers. And what better week to have our Teachers of the Year presented to the board than Teacher Appreciation Week. So it was also Nurse Appreciation Day on Wednesday, Lori, and we appreciate our nurses also. And so anyway, it's been a good week. Been a good week. That concludes my report, Mr. Travis.
Excellent.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Travis, Mr. Jackson, whatever. Okay. Amy Carter, report.
Good evening. Back in January, February, I came and discussed that we had new social studies standards. And through that, we needed to look into adopting new curriculum. So through this time, we, from late January until mid-April, we have been reviewing various curricula. So I'm going to let Stephanie Harper and Joel Young, each are going to talk for a minute or so. I think if they're here.
Joel's here. So
There's Stephanie. Come on. I was like, I haven't seen Stephanie tonight. I'm going to let them speak for just a minute or two about the process and what they noticed on their side of it, and then I'll come back and wrap that up.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Harper, and I'm an instructional coach at the middle school and the intermediate school. And I just wanted to speak tonight to just express my enthusiasm for the adoption of our new social studies curriculum. It's been a long time since we've had one. And this decision was not made lightly. It was a collaborative effort involving stakeholders at every entry level. Teachers played a vital role in this process. They utilizing the materials to plan and gain deeper insights into the educational options available. Their dedication ensured that the chosen curriculum aligns with our district's goals and values. Furthermore, we actively sought feedback from parents by making the materials available at parent-teacher conferences. This inclusive approach allowed us to gather valuable insights and ensure that the curriculum reflects the needs and aspirations of our entire community. As we move forward with the adoption of this curriculum, I am confident that that it will provide our students with a well-rounded education, equipping them with the knowledge and skills necessary to thrive in our ever-changing world. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm Joel Young. I'm the counselor for alternative education, kindergarten through 12th grade, 9th through 12th grade virtual academy, and currently expelled services. And I was asked to be a part of this committee, and honestly, I was surprised that I was asked because I'm not a classroom teacher, and so this is not something that I work with on a regular basis. I think I wrongly assumed that probably the most important factor in choosing a curriculum was how much is it going to cost. And we never discussed cost when we were looking at this. The things that we considered were what are best for the students? What is best for the students? How does this curriculum align with our state standards? The teachers were able to examine each of the 3 different sets of curriculum that we as a committee examined. They put it into practice in their classrooms. They gave us feedback. We brought it back to them. They gave us more feedback. We brought it back to them again, and they gave us more feedback. We looked at items such as, are there extension activities to make things better for those students who may not be understanding the curriculum? We looked at extension activities that are going to also help those students that have already mastered the concepts. We looked at assessments. Are there assessments built into the curriculum? What technology pieces are built into the curriculum? What is going to make it easiest for our teachers to teach these students social studies lessons that are aligned with state standards? And I was honored to be a part of the process, and I'm excited to watch our teachers utilize these books and resources in the next years as they teach our students in the Siloam Springs School District.
They did a great job. Maybe I can just sit down. Okay, so you did hear from them. A big piece of a curriculum adoption is gathering a committee together that spans grade levels, involves community, administrators, teachers. So you can see on the screen, that was our official list of members, and I believe there's 29, if I remember right, without counting them this second. And so we tried to make sure that we covered all of our campus areas. We were looking at curriculum for 5th grade through high school courses. And through the process, we learned that we needed to drop 5th grade out of our process because zero companies have created a 5th grade curriculum that matches our state standards. So now it has become our 6th through high school. So as they stated, they worked through various activities and things over time. There are the meeting dates that we had. We had 2 hours scheduled for each meeting. They worked through various components of, does this support all of our learners? Do we have the technology pieces? Are those pieces there for our teachers? So then we had to establish our purpose. So before we ever started our committee groups, we sent surveys to our teachers to gather input on what do you need? What does that need to look like? And then we had our committees and our dates. On the slide, it says develop our purpose. So we put our committee into team members, and each team created a vision for what they wanted ultimately from our curriculum once we had a final set of this is what we choose. You'll notice they have words like globally minded. They want to have primary, secondary sources. They want to foster higher levels of engagement. So through those 5 vision statements, we used that as our lens as we worked through each of our curriculum options. So next, we had to investigate. And as both Stephanie and Joel mentioned, we had the materials so that the teachers would have them in their classrooms. We had great representatives from the companies that were willing to send us whatever quantity that we needed for teachers to be able to plan and prep and implement so that they could get a feel for what's appropriate and how much planning time does it take and what all do they need. So through this, as I think Stephanie mentioned, maybe Joel, we did offer feedback time from our parents at our parent-teacher conferences. There were tables set up, and they could come and review the curriculum themselves, and then we had feedback forms that they could fill out so that we could gather that feedback, kind of throwing that broader net than just the 29 committee members and then the core curriculum teachers. So Through the whole process, we have now landed on the pieces that we need that are most appropriate for each of those grade levels. So we have National Geographic, and the most appropriate, that was for 6th grade and what they needed. And then Savis is a company we currently use in our virtual academy. And so it's not the same, it's just the same company. So Savis is going to be for our 7th and 8th grade students that have American history. And then it will be for core content at the high school of U.S. and world history. Then we have McGraw-Hill. And this piece is also just for the high school, and it's more of our elective courses, psychology, sociology, I don't know if I wrote them all down, civics, and world geography. And so, again, Savis did not have those, and so the high school team said, please let us divide that up because these are the pieces that we need across those. So tonight, and I know Mr. Wiggins will make this an action item a little bit later, we are asking for your support in moving forward to purchase the pieces that our committee and we believe will be the best materials and most appropriate to serve our kids. Thank you. Questions, thoughts?
So you mentioned so we'll have 3 different companies or brands of, right?
Yes. Yes.
Is there any concern with those not flowing from one grade to the next, a consistent kind of crossover?
No, because the Savis is our ones that have our core content, so that's 7th grade, 8th grade, and then it's going to give us our world history, U.S. history that's in high school. That's where that vertical piece comes. The McGraw-Hill is for electives, and so not all kids take sociology or psychology, and so the core histories have that vertical alignment, all within Savis. Good question.
How was your parental feedback? And did it match our staff feedback?
For the most part, it did. Of course, if you all remember, we all loved National Geographic right. when we were growing up. Right. And so, of course, our feedback from parents, they liked the graphics, they liked the pictures, they liked those components. And really, nobody's going to beat National Geographic in that piece. Sure. But when you get down to the core content of what our kids need and what the teachers need to be able to meet the student needs, this Savis and McGraw-Hill and National Geographic.
Okay. I loved hearing that you allowed parents to give feedback, so thank you for that. That's good.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so we had out-of-district support, which was some community members or parents, right? But that wasn't just the input. We had input from parents, right, did we have,
at the parent-teacher conferences, we had tables set up.
A good turnout of input, or did some just not really? Was it a mix? I guess some was willing.
It was a mix.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I think we have something like that we want to get from parents, like input. I think if we consistently use those parent-teacher conferences as a means to get that, they'll start expecting it, right, when they come. So whatever we have, even if they don't know what it is, we're going to ask, but just for some input. So that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. And in your board agenda, you have the full slideshow that we worked on and developed as we were going through that. So you have the full piece. I just pulled out a few to highlight for the evening. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Patrick?
Good evening. I want to give a little update on the baseball, softball, tennis complex. For the most part, we are getting really close to being complete with that process. We do have some issues, and we've had a lot of rain here lately. We've not had a lot of coverage of our dirt, which has caused some drainage issues because one of the things you can't do, you can't take your silt fence down around some of your big drainage areas as long as the ground's not mostly covered in grass. Well, when you get a big gully washer, that silt fence keeps the water from going to the drain. It's got to go somewhere and it ends up. So Mammoth was out there today power washing off the tennis courts from the mud that had gotten on the courts. They were also looking at options of what we can do, and they're working on settling those. We're still having some issues with the metal contractor coming out and finishing that. And we have a punch list that we have gone over. Randall and Zach and I met with them and went over the punch list of things that we want to see done. But I will tell you that I have seen the public playing tennis. They have gone out there before the mud got on the court, and I have seen people out there just playing tennis. So the facility is being used, and we obviously baseball and softball are over now. They got to use them for the season. So we're still going to have a great facility, but we have some work to do. And I'm a little frustrated. I told Mr. Wiggins earlier today, I'm a little frustrated about the progress that we don't seem to be making here on the back end of that thing. But I've made a couple of phone calls, and I'll, as he said, just work up the food chain. So we'll be working up the food chain with Mammoth, trying to get them to move a little quicker. Any questions about that? I did meet today. I wanted to talk about one thing that's been brought up several times in the last 3-4 years, probably longer than that, but it's been really evident to me the last 3 or 4 years, is our situation at Allen over there around going across Highway 43, where we have the big culvert, where we constantly are seeing kids coming in and out of the culvert, coming from that neighborhood. RDOT had approved a grant and approved a crosswalk there 2 years ago. In the city, that was a city issue that they were working on, and we had committed to, over 2 years ago, to do our part to help in that process, because it's for our kids' safety. It's been an issue trying to get that done. The city has struggled finding a contractor willing to do the work. Just plain and simple, just struggled finding somebody, because in their line of think, most contractors are saying it's not enough work for us to go in and do. So I met with the city today, and Mr. Gilbert, new city administrator, has given a directive to his team to make this happen this summer one way or another. So the city's actually going to do the work themselves. They're going to move some stuff around, do the work, and we are going to partner with them. And at the next board meeting, whether it's a special meeting or it's the next regular meeting that we have, I'll be bringing forth some paperwork and agreement with that, where it's not anything that we hadn't already agreed to do. We've talked about building the sidewalk from the corner of Allen to the crosswalk, because it's on our property. And the city's going to do that for us, and we're going to pay them to do it. It's actually going to save us a ton of money, because it'll be a materials type deal. But that's got to go before both boards. And I just had that today, and I didn't have time to get the paperwork together, but I'll bring that back and present it. But the purpose of all this is to try, the timing of it is to get it done by August, to have it ready for school start. And actually, Mr. Gilbert wanted to have it done before the end of June, so that they can start using it for a little bit for the pool over there, because kids access the pool from that neighborhood by that culvert, that same culvert. So even in schools not in session, it's still an issue the city's dealing with. And so I wanted to give you a little update on that. I think that's going to be a really good thing. It's something we've worked hard to try to do over the last little bit, and finally going to see it actually take place, we hope.
We'll be sure and share our appreciation then to the city for helping out. And,
absolutely.
We're teaming up on that.
Absolutely. And you know, you don't usually get RDOT to give you a lot of stuff. When you go to RDOT, their basic deal is a no. You know, they just put a big stamp, red stamp says no, and send it back to you. But I was appreciative of the people that represent this area that are over that really took a look at that and saw the need for us to put this crosswalk in there. And it'll be one of those flashing sign crosswalks. It won't just be painted across the road and all. So I think it's going to be a really good thing. Last thing, I want to start a conversation. And no decisions have been made by district administration, but start a conversation. Steve and I have been meeting over the last several months. As you know, we've been short of bus drivers for 3 years, longer, maybe, at least 3. So I just told Steve a while back, I said, I'm not sure this is sustainable. I'm not sure that we can continue to function in this fashion. So what Steve, several years ago, 6 or 8 years ago, before I was here, he put together a plan for walk zones around schools to see if we could save having to transport some kids. And it's not necessarily the easiest thing because it's never been done. I will tell you, walk zones have been established in Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, because of the same reason. They don't have enough bus drivers. So when Steve and I met, this is just one idea. Doesn't say this is a proposal to vote on. We're just starting the conversation because I'm going to need to make sure we're all in agreement and it's something that we all feel comfortable moving forward with because it's going to be a huge change for our families. But when Steve and I met, we had some major concerns. And Steve brought, I don't want kids walking across 412. I don't want kids walking across Sherry Whitlock and then Highway 43. We got to figure out how to not make that happen because it's just too dangerous. There's no good place to cross 412 for any kid to walk across that. And there is really not a good place except for that one corner where Sherry Whitlock turns at a hard right and it turns into 43 as it goes around Allen. There's a crosswalk and we have a crossing guards that we do that, but it's still not a great place to cross. 43 is just not a great place to tell kids to walk across the street. So we came up with this idea first. We took a half-a-mile radius around every school, drew a circle, and said if we have a half-a-mile walk zone, if somebody lives in that, they can walk to school. Now you say, how does that work? What if I live within a half a mile of Northside, but I go to high school? Well, if you go to Northside, then you walk in the front door and go to school. If you don't, we have a pickup spot where we can run a shuttle, we can run a bus, pick those kids up, take them to high school. So we're still going to get kids to school, but if they can walk to their own school is the thought process. So when we came down to it, looked at the circles, that covers most of that box. So what Steve is proposing, and I think was a really good plan, is we just create this walk zone, this box, this walk zone. And if you live inside this box, you walk to a school, your closest school, we'll come by there. If you don't go to that school, we'll pick you up and take you to the school you're going. And when we look at it, how many routes, that saves us running 5 bus routes. We can eliminate 5 bus routes by doing this. Well, that's 5 drivers. That's 350 kids. I don't know if this is the best plan. It's the plan that we've come up with and we have and that we think can work, but we need to talk about what we're going to do. We're growing at a rate fast enough. We just don't have the bus drivers. We have the buses. I mean, you guys buy us buses all the time. We got the buses. We just do not have the drivers. And I'm not tooting my own horn or whatever, but as the board knows, I drive a lot of bus routes, and I'll be on a bus route in the morning because we're short bus drivers in the morning. So unless we have an influx of people that want to come drive buses, we're going to have to come up with a plan of how to do this. And we're open to input. We want to have input from all parties involved. But we're getting here in May. School's going to start in August, and you sure don't want to change what you're doing in the middle of the school year. So we're going to have to make some decisions. Either we're going to try to make some sort of change, or we're going to try to limp through next year and see what happens and take a year to figure it out. But I can tell you, it's not getting any better. We had resignation this week from a bus driver, and we just don't have anybody to replace. Every time we hire a bus driver, it seems like we lose one. And they tell me it's not about money. that's, I don't think raising, I mean, they're worth everything they get paid, but I don't think giving huge raises is going to get us any more people working for us. I'm open to comments, or we can just let it lay right now.
Well, the proposal makes sense to me. I mean, if we had plenty of drivers, it wouldn't be an issue. One maybe just idea, I'm sure you've thought of this, but outside of that circle, could we look for ways to be more efficient with how many stops we do? Just for instance, my neighborhood, I live in Country Acres. I know that bus comes into my neighborhood. I don't know how many stops it makes inside that neighborhood. You know, maybe there might also be some efficiency there. So,
the difference in those routes, if you make them go to one point and you're picking up 50 kids, or if you go house to house, you're still picking up 50 kids.
Right.
So the numbers on the bus, that's what we've got to try to figure out, is how many kids we can get off the bus so we have enough bus routes. That's
okay.
And don't get me wrong, like, we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to do that as we continue to grow. And we already do that. Like, if you go out Kenwood and Travertine and White Rock streets, we pull right up to the end and all those kids come out of that neighborhood. So that's one bus route. So those two streets alone are one bus route. They completely fill that bus up. You couldn't put two more kids on that bus anywhere.
So it's not stops and time, it's seats on the bus.
It's seats on the bus. Once you get full, you're full, and you just have to go unload. And what we've been doing is doubling up. Steve can speak to this, but what we've been doing several times, especially in the last month and a half, is we'll take half of 14's kids and we'll put them on 15, and we'll put the other half on 17 or whatever bus numbers. But we'll call these principals at 2:00 and say, okay, we don't have this driver. I need you to get all your 14 kids at Allen. Let's now put them on Route 16, and we'll take those. So now drivers are having to learn not only their own route, but they're learning every route. They have to know every route, because we don't know how we're going to, it's just a maze. Where it really gets us in a bind is if you've got a young child that their parents are used to getting home, that child at a certain time, and then because of how you're having to rework it, you drop them off 10 minutes early and there's nobody home. So it's just not even being convenient for parents, as well as not having enough people to do the job. Yes, sir.
Do you think the walk zones will create more car riders, drop-offs and things like that?
I feel like it probably will. I think there will be some people who just drive their kids to school versus have them walk. It just depends.
I guess my question is, can we handle it? Can we handle more cars? I know it gets to be pretty congested.
Well, Allen Intermediate's always going to be a problem. We hope one day when we're able to, when we need to build a new elementary school and maybe change up some configuration, that maybe we can stagger some times that will help that situation. That's the only situation. Like, I mean, we paid for part of a traffic study over a year ago, and they basically threw their hand after they did it. They're like, yeah, you're right. There's nothing you can do about it. So I think that's going to be the place that's going to hit us the worst. I think everywhere else will probably be all right.
Well, I appreciate you guys working on this. I know it's not a easy task either, just thinking of our community and how it's going to impact people.
I just want the public to know this is not something Steve wants to do or I want to do. We're just in a situation where I don't know what else to do if we're going to continue. I just know that guy right over there gets up 5:00 every morning, drives a morning bus route, comes back, spends all day trying to figure out how he's going to get buses covered in the afternoon, and at 2 or 2:15 climbs on a bus, drives, and then spends till 8:00 every night trying to figure out how we're going to cover routes over the next couple of days. And he's calling and begging and people to drive when they really don't want to, or he talks them into it. But that's not sustainable to work that many hours a day. It's just every single day. There's never a stop. It's just, he's not getting to do a lot of what he normally would do running his department because he's spending 5 hours a day on a bus. And that's not what we hired Steve for 20-something years ago, was to drive every day. He's supposed to run the department.
And I do that too.
You do. Oh, I'm there with you, I know. Any other questions or feedback?
If you're looking for direction, I mean, you're right, it's something that we've talked about, I think, every month for however long. So only wise for us to look at options, even though it may not be our favorite, and it's not unique to us. So direction for me would be, I think it's wise for us to at least explore options.
Okay.
I don't know if next board meeting, we could have more of a update on how it is for the positives from Rogers, Springdale, other school, if you can maybe.
I mean, I've reached out. I know what the positives are.
So
for the first 6 months, it's pretty negative. Parents don't like it, and then it goes away. I mean, you just have to. All of them said you suffer through the complaining because of the change, but the one thing parents they come to. This was the exact words Springdale gave me. What they come to is to realize that you're not canceling routes. So at least they know what the plan, they know how to do it. Sure. Whereas before, somebody calls in sick 10 minutes before a route, they were calling kids up to the office in middle school and high school and say, hey, call your parent, tell you got to get a ride home. We don't have a bus driver today. We are not at that point yet, but I can see with our growth, if we don't have an influx of bus drivers, we're going to get to the point where if we're not doing this, we're going to start calling parents and saying, hey, I get it, it's 1:30, but you need to come pick your kids up today at 3 when school gets out because we don't have a bus driver to drive them. I mean, that's a real possibility, and I would hate to do that.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
No. That's not fair to anybody.
Well, I would say, I mean, if this is something we wind up moving forward with, if you guys can figure out the best timing to start getting word out, let's market it the best we can.
Absolutely.
Make sure people are aware of the benefits and that we understand. So anyway.
Okay. We'll work on it. We'll be back. I'll be back in touch with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it has been pointed out to me that I think we had walk zones in Siloam Springs at one time. It may have been 40+ years ago.
Brian?
I don't believe they were called work zones back then.
Brian voted
did
for
not
that.
point that out to me.
Did you vote on that, Brian?
Sorry?
Nothing. All right. Moving on to action items.
Consent agenda. I'm going to just briefly touch on what's in here. There's minutes for the regular meeting, a special meeting, and a couple of student hearings, and then personnel transfers and personnel changes. We also have one student transfer in, 2 out. Just certified teachers moving from one spot to a different spot is 13, and that is good in one way because we're keeping them in-house and we're putting them into better situations for them or for us, but it also creates it's a domino effect. So when you move, then it just moves that open spot someplace else. Classified transfers, 2, classified resignations, 7 of them, and classified hires, 6 of them. I would recommend that you approve the consent agenda.
Have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And April 2024 financial statement?
Not a lot to report this month, so that's a good thing. We are 83% all the way through our school year, 10 months. That's crazy that we're so close to the end. If you will look on the only colored page in your packet with the graph, we're 83% of the way through the school year. So far this year, we've collected 69% of our projected local taxes. Now, May is a huge month for us to get taxes. And I finally figured out why. I was sitting in a class last week or the week before, and they were talking about revenues. And what I didn't know was that anyone who has a mortgage, when they assess their property taxes, or their property taxes are assessed, they have so many days, and the escrow company has to pay their bill. So that's why we have big deposits in April and May, and then again, the ones that don't have a mortgage pay theirs in October. So I learned something that day. I was like, wow, this is worth something. So anyway, because I never could figure out why we had so much money coming in twice a year instead of just once, but that's the reason. This time last year, we'd collected 71%. So we're a little behind of where we were last year, but it's nothing to be concerned about. Just kind of glancing through, if you will notice, we finally paid all of our bond payments. So we can keep the school in this building another year, so that's good. And our building fund, I just wanted to point out that we have received the monies for the sale of one of our buildings, our CO buildings. The second one just recently sold, and that will be deposited. You'll see that reflected next month in our revenue. And that we purchased this small piece of property between us and the fairgrounds. Rodeo grounds, thank you. So that transaction has happened, so we are the proud owners of that now. I don't really have anything else. Do you all have any questions?
Have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And the bid for LVT installation at Northside and finishing out middle school.
So Brandel and Zach worked together, sent out bid packets to installers for the LVT installation at Northside, and then to finish out the middle school that we had already started that process previously.
Well,
We
quick
had 4
question.
bids.
What's LVT?
It's that flooring. You know, we did that. on the
Luxury vinyl tile.
Luxury vinyl.
Luxury vinyl tile.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
So we had 4 people turned in bids. You can see in that there was a wide variety, all the way from $58,900 to $106,000. And Randall and Zach feel very confident in the low bidder at CFS of NWA to do the installation. They feel really good about that company. Randall, is there anything you needed to add to it?
Since we accepted the bids and there when we opened, they had called us weekly, just check.
This is the first time we will be using them.
The first time we will be using them.
And that's a significant savings. So,
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right. MOU and NWAC to offer concurrent enrollment courses.
So you have a memorandum of understanding between us and NWAC in your packet. It's something we've done every year for quite a while. It provides our students the opportunity to take college and high school concurrent credit courses through their early college experience program. It's pretty much the standard MOU that we have approved in the past. It gives our kids an opportunity to take those classes at a cut rate. I would recommend that you approve that.
There's some red text at the very last. Is that for any particular reason or just, can I say that just right there? Yeah. I don't know if it's Anything to make note of? Maybe not.
That's just information they added from the last time they did this, apparently, on students who choose to opt out, and they're putting a deadline in there.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And finally, therapy service providers.
I'm going to let Shauna explain the need for all of these, but I believe these are all ones that we have approved in the past.
Good evening. Yes, these are all service providers that we've used for occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech and language therapy. Shelby Moyers does our speech and language evaluations. Doris comes in and does academic evaluations. Lighthouse works with our most challenging, behaviorally challenging students in the district. ProCare and Soliant are new this year. We needed another speech and language therapist at the high school, and we needed another school psych to do some testing. And so those two are the only new ones this year that we used, and we see that we'll need to use them again next year. So I've put on there the last 2 years, and then this year, or this next year, going into next year.
So we actually have, as you know, we have speech therapists on staff. We don't have enough. So that's the reason we hire out third party. We have a school psychologist on staff. She cannot do all the testing that we need done. And then we have behavior supports and or board certified behavior analysts on staff, but they cannot handle their workload either. So that's the reason that we have to go hourly with third party. We have a position or the opportunity in our salary schedule to hire occupational therapists and physical therapists, but have not had anybody interested in working for us. They would rather contract out.
Well, we did 3 interviews.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Sorry?
then, yeah, and none of them panned out, so.
Okay. All right. So that's the reasons that we pay hourly for a lot of these services.
Is that something we do one time? I mean, once we approve.
Once you approve it, it's good for the year.
Yeah.
So this would be for the 24-25 school year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. All right, we'll call this meeting into executive session for the purpose of hiring and resignations. All right, we will call this meeting back into open session. Classified staff contract renewals.
Yes, sir. Let me get caught up there. So in your packet, you have recommendations for extending contracts to 260 classified staff for next school year. Our classified staff, that includes a whole lot of people, from paras in the classroom to secretaries, administrative assistants in the buildings. A lot of our staff here in the central office, bus drivers, food service, some of our technology people, our maintenance and custodial staff. So if I left it, nurses, they're kind of somewhere in between certified and classified, but they're on this list, I believe. But our school would not operate without our classified staff. They are essential support personnel for our school district, and they perform very, very important jobs, and they support our staff and our kids in a lot of unseen ways, from a smile and a greeting as kids get on the bus, to the nurse that sees 100 kids during the day and 60 of them come by to get a peppermint just because they like the nurse. Have somebody care about them and show concern about them. Our classified staff are invaluable, and they are very, very appreciated. And I could not stress how much they mean to our school district and to our kids. I would recommend that you approve those 260 contracts for next school year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, licensed resignations.
Have 3 licensed resignations for you to approve. Michelle Williams, high school English. Peyton Morris was going to be a middle school teacher for us next year and has decided not to do that. And then Maureen Broglin, middle school. I would ask that you approve those 3 resignations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And licensed hires.
So this is hiring season for our principals, and they have been doing an inordinate amount of work trying to find the right people for the right positions and doing lots of interviews. I have 20 certified staff members to recommend tonight. Travis Moreland, middle school assistant principal. Taylor Meadows, intermediate school special ed. Spencer Hulse, high school work-based learning and assistant boys basketball. Kaylee Church, Allen Elementary sped. Paxton Crawford, middle school math. Brian Morseman is coming back to us, high school science. Thomas Roy, high school social studies. Eldon Labatad is coming back to us, high school medical terminology and assistant football. Michaela Watkins, high school English, girls basketball. Catherine Breedlove, Allen Elementary. Bethany Malone, Allen Elementary. Rusty Perkins is moving into the intermediate school assistant principal role. Brianna Cooper, middle school science. Jonathan Byer, middle school health, PE and basketball. Brian Allen, high school digital cinema and broadcasting. Colton Bowerman, middle school PE, health and football. Layla Stars, high school science. Carol Ellison, high school special ed. Lorraine Ashmore, high school ESL. Abigail Ortega, high school art. I would recommend that you approve those 20 hires.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, other items, employee retention bonus.
Let Terry speak to that.
I am excited to talk to you about this opportunity that we have to reward our returning staff members for next year. Part of our ESSER plan or COVID-19 funding was always we had a piece of the recruit and retention part for our staff. And we are coming to the end of that money. And fortunately, we are going to have a pot of money that we're going to be able to split among those currently contracted employees that come back and work for us next year with the intention of completing their contract. So however many we have at the end of the year that return depends on how much we're going to get. I can tell you that as of right now, everyone that returns will get at least $500, and that can only go up. Of course, this plan will have to be submitted to the Arkansas Department of Education, and they will approve it once we have some solid numbers. Shane can address anything if you have questions about that. But again, they have to be on contract now. They have to return and work through August 31st with the intention of staying the remainder of their contract. So they can't turn in a resignation and go, I'm going to resign October 31st. They don't have an intention of staying, so they don't get the opportunity to participate in this bonus that we're going to be able to give. The bonus will be paid out in September on the regular paycheck in September. Do you all have any questions about that? Any concerns? Anything?
Just to confirm, I mean, this won't necessarily be a yearly thing.
No, this is one
This is
time.
one time.
And this is the only time, I've been here 10 years, and this is the only time we have given or had the ability to give a retention bonus. And this is because we have been very frugal in our spending with our ESSER funding, and we have some left over. So we want to share it with everybody that helped us during COVID.
I think it shows a great appreciation for the people of our district that work here. I mean, I hope they see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for bringing the recommendation. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Social studies curriculum?
So, Mr. Carter presented the social studies curriculum adoption process earlier, and she told you what the recommendation from the committee was. I would ask that you all approve the purchase of the social studies curriculum as it was presented in your packet and by Ms. Carter.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And bids for a purchase of a Suburban.
Let Shane speak to this.
So if you remember last board meeting, I asked the board for permission to put out for bid to purchase a Suburban for the school district to be used to transport students. Just a little background, our minivans are getting older, getting harder to fix. The minivan option is not a good option as they're not making those like they used to in a standard model. They're tricking them out, for people to buy them at a retail level, not as fleet models. So looking at this, as you gave me permission to put this out, I just for open and fair with all the vendors across the state we put it on our website, we put it out on social media, then I actually contacted their 6 fleet dealers that are Chevrolet list as fleet dealers in Arkansas. I called every one of them and got their fleet manager, got their email address, and sent them a bid packet. So directly, not only did we put it out for anybody to see, but we also targeted the fleet dealers of the state of Arkansas. And I received 1 bid. Then this morning, bids were due yesterday at 4. Then this morning, I got a second bid and an apology letter saying, sorry, I wasn't able to get it to you, but it's here today. But it was higher than the 1 bid that we got on time. And Superior here in town was the low bidder. And the total price for that Suburban is $63,245. And I would like to recommend that we go ahead and purchase this. I think it'll be a huge benefit, not only for, let me back up a second. I think it's going to be a huge benefit for all uses for the district, but I've already been contacted since the last board meeting by 2 different sponsors of programs who do not feel comfortable driving the 14-passenger bus that take anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 kids on trips. And they're like, thank you for advocating for us because we don't feel comfortable on those. And if we have a Suburban, or if there's in the future, we have multiple Suburbans where we can take kids, we feel comfortable driving that. So it'll help our transportation department out in that, as well as the daily transporting of kids. And we also have groups of teachers. If it's not needed for kids, we could send them to trainings when there's 4 or 5, whatever going. So it's going to be a big service. And I would recommend that we have the money in the transportation budget this year. And I would recommend that we go ahead and purchase a Suburban.
What's the delivery date?
Tomorrow, if we want it.
Oh, wow.
They have it when he found out we might be interested, he put our name on it. And I told him over at Spear, I said, now, Gary, don't think I'm buying it because we haven't got this in front of the board. I don't know. And if you're not the low bidder, we're going to buy it from the low bidder. He said, don't worry about it. I got 3 people behind you on the list. I'll have it sold as soon as you tell me. But if the district wants it, we'll hold it for you. So awesome. I'm just waiting for the board meeting, and then I'll let him know tomorrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hiring of assistant superintendent.
So Our team has worked really hard to going through applicants to replace me in the assistant superintendent role that I'll be vacating to move over to the superintendent role here July 1. I was super pleased with the number of people and the quality of people who are interested in working in our district. We had a team of Kelly Sweeback, Amy Carter, Terry Ruscavage, and Michelle Payton that sat in along with myself on the interviews. We held 5 interviews, had multiple other conversations with people, but 5 in-person interviews, and came out with Mr. Jason Lawrence. And Jason comes to us, will be coming to us from Conway, where he has served as the Career and Technical Education Director at one point for not just Conway School District, but they also served 11 other school districts in the area. He has been the high school principal at Conway High School. He was then promoted to the Director of Student Services, where he currently, Director of Support Services, where he is currently serving in that role. And in that role, he is over facilities and maintenance, food service, vendor contracts and purchasing, transportation, school security and resource officers, technology, health and human services and nurses, parent concerns and principal concerns. Sounds like it's a pretty carbon copy to the job I've been doing for the last 5 years. Jason has a wonderful personality. He is a go-getter. He's been described by people that worked with him as everybody knows who he is and everybody likes him. And he always makes people feel better when you walk away visiting with him. I think he is the committee was sold on him. I don't think there's one person that didn't think he was a quality person and do a great job leading, helping us lead this district into the future. So unless you have questions, I would like to recommend that we hire Mr. Jason Lawrence as the next assistant superintendent for our school district.
I think we're excited to have Jason as a Panther.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. A motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And superintendent contract.
So I'll speak to the superintendent contract. You all had approved a contract for me back in January or February, I don't remember which, but you all had approved the contract and the items that were in the addendum as goals for the superintendent under the New Learns Act, those were required. So with me going out and Shane coming in, it's basically that same exact contract with his name put in it and the numbers from most recent salary schedule. And I would recommend that you approve that contract for Shane for next year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And we have one more item. Eric?
Yep. Last August, 2023, I asked for some feedback for a cell phone policy. And Jody, thank you for getting that done. I think it was done within a week or two. So that went out to teachers, and I'll summarize I don't know if, was that a public result, or did that just come back to us? Did that go out to everybody?
I believe we presented it at a board meeting.
Okay, so the results, I'll summarize them by saying that, say half of teachers say no need for a cell phone policy. And the reasoning for that, when you dug into the comments, was they were either at a lower school and cell phones weren't even an issue, or they were at an upper school that had cell phones and they had their own in-classroom policy and they were fine implementing that. However, what stuck out to me was that there were a lot of comments that said, I wish there was some kind of district-wide policy. I don't like being the bad guy, and cell phones are a huge distraction in class. I'll also say my own experience in being a part of all of our expulsion hearings, every one of them has a cell phone component. So sure, cell phones are great. There's a lot of good things about them. They're a tool, but there's a lot of pitfalls, and just giving them to kids and having zero policy around when they can have them, when they can use them, just gives me concern. So, Dr. Miller, do you mind if I mention you in telling this story? So I spoke to Dr. Miller because I wanted feedback from her, and I'll just say what I said to her was, look, I could come up with my idea of a policy and make a motion of it. It's going to be bad because I am not a teacher. I'm not a principal. I don't know what you guys know. So here's what I would ask. When I asked for this back in August, I was told you cannot do this middle of the year. You can't make a big policy change like this middle of the year. Totally understand that. So here we are, end of the year. You guys thought I would forget. No, not really. But I remembered, and I would like for us to have some sort of, let's call it a baseline cell phone policy. I would like for there to be some sort of recommendation. It can come, I don't know how this is going to work. Jody, I guess maybe I'll look to you, or it might even be Shane. But I would like for input on what let's call it a baseline cell phone policy, something that worked for whole district. If some schools want to go further, fine, but at least a bare minimum. And I'll just say my idea would be that during classroom time, so not between classes, not during lunchtime, not before or after school, but during class periods, I would hope that there would be no cell phones being used. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I think that it should be, the attention should be on the teacher. He or she should have control of what's going on, and there shouldn't be texting or social media going on during classroom time. So now that's just an idea. If you guys have a better idea, I'd love to hear it, or if you want to go further, great, but something along those lines. So I'd like to be able to make a motion on this before the start of next school year. So we have several months, we have through the summer. I would just ask that, will you bring me your recommendation? I'd like to get mine from the board. I'd like for there to be plenty of conversation. You're free to make comments now if any of the other directors have any comments, but that is what I would like to see, and help me come up with a plan that will help our teachers. And another, sorry to go longer, but another piece of advice that Dr. Miller shared with me is she said, share the why. So I thought that was a great piece of advice. The why is, I hear this from our teachers verbally a lot. And I hear it from my kids. So I've got 4 little spies in our school that bring me back information, and they share all the fun stuff that happens with cell phones in classrooms when they should be, listening and paying attention. So the spirit behind it is going to be, what are some of our big hurdles right now? Is going to be academic performance, behavior, and teacher support. And those have shown up in some of our recent surveys that we've sent out. I think cell phones plays a big role in all of those items. So I hope that is clear. If I need to share more, I'm happy to reach out to me personally if you'd like to, or bring it up at a meeting. So, but I'd just like for there to be some conversation around it. And if we could get something started before start of next school year, I'd be thrilled. Okay.
A comment I have is, I agree, it would be good to hear of at least an idea of what we could do and start that conversation. Because, it is something that I think can get out of hand quickly. I think it can be controlled in some manners, but I think to your point of some teachers, if there's not a policy, it's hard to implement it. So anyway.
That did come up in the survey a lot. Sorry to interrupt you, but in the survey, we saw a lot of teachers almost begging for some sort of district-wide policy that would give them the teeth to enforce something. Because otherwise they say, the other teacher that they just came from, the classroom they just came from, had no policy. Now they come to my classroom, I have to be the bad guy. So not all teachers are super high conflict people, right? These are low conflict peacemakers. So I don't want them to have to carry the water for that. I'd rather it be on me. I'll answer to a student or a parent or whoever who's upset that we ask the kids to be paying attention during classroom time. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you letting me share that.
All right. Anything else? Any other discussion? Do we need to, is that just something we can ask and then you guys?
So I'm going to throw out a suggestion.
Okay.
that we may put together a small group to look at what might be the base components of something like that that we could all agree upon. And I actually think it's not necessarily a district-wide policy. It's a secondary and an elementary, because we don't allow them, period, in our elementaries.
Right.
Intermediate's kind of the in-between. They can bring them, but they have to put them in their lockers immediately, and they stay there all day. So I think it's more secondary and elementary. So it might be a small committee of middle school, high school administrators, and I might ask them, we'll talk about what that might look like to get some feedback from other groups as well. And then what we might do is bring the suggested components of said policy back to you all, for you all to talk about at maybe hopefully the June meeting. And then the actual writing of it can take place after we kind of form a consensus around the base components. Does that seem like an acceptable plan?
I might even like the idea of a work session in regards to this one.
Okay. Yeah. Let's let us work on that committee, getting some input and maybe putting some stuff together, and then we'll make a plan for a work session to bring you all in and talk to you about it.
Awesome. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion adjourned, or motion, meeting adjourned.
Nice job, guys.